Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alex Light, and welcome back to Racing Lights Productions, your home for sim racing. We are live at the virtual Phoenix Raceway for the Online Motorsports Association's Virtual Racing Championship Desert Dash. After a few weeks off for the holiday break, drivers are refreshed and ready to resume Season 11. Sorry about that. After our initial weeks at Daytona, we have a change of pace tonight with a short track style race at Phoenix. Last season, Phoenix provided some long green flag racing with lots of strategy, but also a little bit of controversy. A late spin from OCM brought out a caution and caused the field to bunch up in the dying laps of the race. Tonight, the race might not have as big implications as last season's Phoenix race since it was during the playoffs, but it will surely still provide the intense and exciting racing we saw here last season. Join me up in the booth tonight to help bring you all the action is Keith Brubaker. Keith, it's been great having you up in here the booth for this season, and you've seen both super speedway and road course racing with these Gen 7 cars. Tonight will be a much different feel with heavy braking zones and the part of the track that makes Phoenix really unique, the dogleg. Do you anticipate a lot of drivers utilizing the dogleg throughout tonight's race?
If anything of my past experience on this track, and even just the dogleg on other tracks, I think so. It's going to be, I think, a big battle with tires here, like you were saying, long stints. So that dogleg might be a little bit of a challenge with tires, but also fuel. So the hardest thing is the rejoin, but I agree with you. I think that dogleg is going to come into crucial, especially if there's long runs.
Yeah, and like you talk about the tires there, as you get longer and longer in the run, these tires and the way the car goes from the banking to the flat surface of the dogleg, you're going to see drivers start to struggle for grip and for traction. So something to keep an eye on as we go throughout the race. But let's go take a look real quick at the schedule coming up, and then we'll take a look at the drivers and team standings. So looking at our schedule coming up, we've got Michigan and then the Eldora race that is on the 20th. It seems like that is going to be changed and will be pushed back a week. That is the weekend of the iRacing Daytona 24. So lots of drivers looking to be participating in that, myself included. So they're currently in talks to move that back a week and push the schedule back just 1 week. But we will let you guys know next week if that is finalized. Then after Eldora, Charlotte, Homestead, Red Bull Ring, Pocono, and Talladega round out the regular season. Now, going over to the drivers' standings, we get a look at where everybody currently is in the drivers' standings, and Jarrett Talmadge holds on to the lead, but there were some big movers throughout the Daytona road course race. Jewah moves up to second. He's up 8 spots. Jonathan Amodio, I believe he moved up 6 spots as well. Isaac Shelley, with that win at Daytona road course, moved up 16, so big jumps. Now, the big thing, we had a lot of drivers not show, and obviously some drivers really strong at the road courses like Min Hang. You see him didn't run the Daytona 250, but he gets himself up to 12th place, and that currently is a playoff spot. So we'll see how he does going forward as he's back to being full-time. But lots of big movers throughout, several moving up 5 or so positions, like Austin Mongold. He's up into a pretty good spot after moving up. I believe he went up 11, or no, did I see it the other way? I might have seen it the other way. No, he went down 11. My apologies. I was looking at the Daytona 250 and then looked at this. But yeah, some big movers throughout the first 2 races when it comes to the point standings, but we'll see how things fare tonight. But taking a look at the team standings, you can see currently in charge of the team standings, we've got ourselves the SS Motorsports with Planet Sim Esports and McGinnis Motorsports currently tied for 2nd and 3rd. And ever since I've taken over, OCM is the lowest they've ever been, 5th place. So we'll see if they're going to be able to bounce it back going forward. But we'll kind of have to see. But let's head on over. It looks like qualifying is all finished. We'll be able to go through our starting lineup here for tonight. And on pole is your points leader, the 16 in Jarrett Talmadge. Starting alongside him is going to be the 6 of Jolene Sims. In row 2, we will have Tim Moore and Thomas Green. Row 3 is going to be Min Hang and Kyle England back on track here tonight with us. And he's been a very a strong runner when it comes to some of these intermediates to short style tracks. So we'll see how he fares tonight. Ryan McCall in 7th place, Jonathan Amodio in 8th, so a really good qualifying spot there for the 23. And then Drew Jewah and Tyler Burden round out the top 10. And back in row 6, we have Jared Newton and Victor Imbasciani. And Keith, over to you for the next rows.
All right, so for that next row is going to be Zach Brewster. And then lining up right next to him is Ryan Miniker. That following row is Ryan Rosistis. Next to him is Jonathan Adams. Then the next row is going to be Lucas Mazzotti, Christopher Lull, and then Isaac Shelley is going to start the next one, Noah McGillard. And then going to the following row is going to be Downey, Glenn Downey, James Mendez, and then the final row is going to be Jonathan Spipes and Bradley Quills.
Yeah, and the rounding out the field here tonight is going to be Jimmy Amos. So a couple drivers electing not to qualify, or were not able to put a lap in. One that surprises me, though, is the 19 of Isaac Shelley. Seeing him pretty far down back, I believe we said it was 19th. That's kind of unfamiliar territory for him, so we'll see how he maneuvers his way through the field. But there's a look at your points leader, the number 16 of Jarrett Talmadge. Starting on pole, really good spot to be. We'll see if he can continue this charge here early on in this season. Last season, had a really good run, got himself 2nd place in the points by the end of the season, and it came down to basically a championship race between him and Drew Jewah, but unfortunately, Drew just had a pretty significant gap going into Chicagoland. But this is a great way for Jarrett to start, build that confidence, build that momentum throughout the regular season. So we'll see how he's going to go throughout the race here tonight, starting on the front row. Definitely going to have that clean air, and that is going to be crucial because the bottom line is always key around this track.
Indeed it is. And again, we were going back to what we had last season, long runs. If you can keep your tires fresh, it means you can stay out of the pits, which means you can continue to save time and not having to pit. So, and on top of that, with braking, like Alex was stating earlier, we're going to actually have to brake going into it. So lockups on those tires is a possibility. So keeping your tires as healthy as possible is going to be key tonight.
So here we go, getting ready to go green flag racing as they come around the field. You can see right above the cactus here, they're going to be coming into view as we go through the Geico restart zone. We are going green flag racing for the Desert Dash, 150 laps around the Phoenix Raceway.
And it does look like kicking off. It does look like Jolene Sims may have had a better start. Oh, right as I say that, just looks like Talmadge did get it back, but Jolene Sims is actually going to be in the top row, so that is going to make sense. But the pack in the back is starting to find their flow, and it does look like a couple of these drivers are already maybe getting in little battles as it's the beginning of the race.
Yeah, lots of jockeying for position. You're going to see drivers fan out as we go through the dogleg. Jared Talmadge opting not to take it. You can make up a lot of ground there, but at the same time, you really have to try and get the car back in so you can make turn 1. You see Thomas Green right behind, side by side with Jolene Sims. Jolene Sims going to have the momentum on the exit. What is Thomas Green going to decide to do? Is he going to try and push the issue to try and move up to 2nd place? He's going to ride right behind Jolene Sims. A little bit further behind, though, a couple drivers going side by side. Looks like Drew Jewah there in the 4 Patriotic Public scheme. And you can see he goes all the way to the inside with Victor Imbasciani following behind. But again, looking up front, we have side-by-side battle for 2nd place. Jolene Sims, Thomas Green, and Thomas Green just cannot seem to get that inside line to stick.
Not at all. And even you look at Talmadge up ahead there, he's enjoying that inside line, and they're very much riding it. So maybe the top line may not be the play this evening, but we are very early. So who knows if, especially the new updates to iRacing, if that might become a factor as we get later into this race.
When you can see there, a really interesting line from Jolene Sims. She rides all the way out to the wall and then makes a hard cut for a late apex, trying to maximize the speed to go down the back stretch. The big thing that's going to happen, though, and we've seen this from Jolene Sims in the past from some tracks that take a lot of tire wear, it's going to kill your right front because you're forcing the car to turn down so hard. So we'll see if she continues to try and run the line. You see she changes it here, goes for more of a diamond pattern, which is a little bit more traditional for drivers to take around this track. But as we go a little bit further throughout the field, you can see all the way back, this is P10. Jonathan Amodio fills out the field in that very beautiful Rocket League car. But then there's another battle, a couple battles going on a little bit further behind. That's Tyler Burden in the 06 going side by side with Kevin Yerguez, who makes his first start here for season 11. And so it looks like Kevin Yerguez is going to settle in behind there, behind Tyler Burden. We've got a whole bunch of cars trying to settle in for position. It seems like everywhere we're starting to single file out as that front 10, that top 10, really starting to pull away here. About a second gap between Zach Brewster and Jonathan Amodio.
Yeah, and this battle does seem like they're very much enjoying some of that dirty air, at least for Amodio. And unfortunately, it does look like there's going to be even a battle that number 15, Victor Mbasi, is going to even be involved here. We're coming into more of those braking zones, or even and the dog legs coming up here. So it does look like Mbasi does decide to take it and is able to take advantage of it. And even that 23, Mbasi is going to, I'm sorry, Amodio might actually be able to take advantage of that too.
You see Mbasiani, he holds on to 8th place, had a little bit of a struggle there, but is able to get it back underneath of him. They lose a little bit of time to the drivers in front, but we've got a 3-way fight here for 8th place. We'll see if they can get going yet again. And Mbasiani, he's had really good runs in the past, but some tracks just really, it's consistency for him where he struggles. And we saw one of the flat tracks we've had before, New Hampshire, was a real problem for him. But so far early on here at Phoenix, definitely putting on a good showing in that 15 Sports Speed car. So we'll see if he's able to continue the run and see if he can make his way back up to that front group.
Speaking of that front group, it does look like Talmadge is still racing a rather impressive race, as Jolene Sims still can't seem to pass, but looks like Thomas Green right behind her is really trying to challenge for that second position as he keeps putting in faster and faster lap times. So it could make things interesting with that dog leg with a little bit of gap. Is he going to take the dog leg and take advantage of maybe a mistake that Jolene makes? And it looks like right there is almost taking advantage of mistakes.
Well, it's not even just taking advantage of a mistake, just trying to cut the track a little bit, see if you can maximize your time. And it sometimes works out. Some drivers are able to make passes through the dog leg, but at the same time, like we talked about a little bit in the pre-race, that you just have to be careful taking the dog leg, because if you take it too many times, not only the car doesn't like it with the transition to the flat surface from the banking, but the tires are going to take some significant wear. Especially, we don't know how the car is going to react with the updates for the oval tire model and things like that. But you can see Jolene Sims closing the door on Thomas Green as he had a look to the inside, just can't seem to get that nose in there on the exit and carry that momentum off. He does a very good job. He's faster into the entry as well as the middle of the corner, but Jolene Sims just has just enough pace to be able to beat him on the exit, and now he's going to try and attack for the race lead, almost getting to the back bumper of the 16.
Yeah, and right there you can see that advantage of the dog leg. She did just take it and was able to maybe defend off a little bit of time, but it's still like Green is still going to stand on top. But Sims is rather impressive, like you were saying, Alex. She may not have that entry speed, but the exit speed is almost as important as that entry speed. So the mistakes that maybe she has theoretically in those slowest portions do play into here.
You can see the big thing you see her doing is she keeps adjusting her line. She's trying to figure out what's going to work, what's fastest, maybe trying to see if she can keep her tires fresh by staying off that racing line. But we'll see how that strategy is going to work as we go longer and longer in this run. Going a little bit further back, we've got Zach Brewster battling it out right now with, that is the 90 of Ryan McCall. This is the battle for the top 10. And Zach Brewster in that 05 trying everything he can, just doesn't quite have that nose on the inside. We'll see if he sets it up again here going through turns 1 and 2. It looks like he actually might have a tiny bit of damage on that right front, but he's really going to send it through 1 and 2. You saw the car get a little loose on entry, but ooh, that is a big save from Victor Mbasiani. He's going to lose some spots, but keeps it green flag racing.
Yeah, and that right there is some of the talent we have in this track. But going back to this battle where we're looking, it looked like Brewster may have had a little bit of a better entry, but unfortunately somewhere he lost a little bit of time to McCall. But it does look like Mbasiani does want to get back involved here as he is starting to catch right back up. But going back to the battle we were looking at, it does look like Brewster did gain some time on McCall, just a little bit. But on tracks like this, everything matters. So you can keep nicking away at that time, and next thing you know, you're leading.
Well, and especially with these kind of tracks where it's a lot of heavy braking, the passing is hard to make. You've got to really take your time and set up your moves. There's lots of time to go. We don't have a stage until lap 75. You're going to make it quite a while for a fuel run. So we'll see. We're not quite sure what when we're going to see drivers come down, but it's going to be interesting to see what the strategies are going to play out, especially right now. Still green flag racing. We'll see if we can continue to stay green as you see Brewster maybe taking a peek around the outside. Not going to try and jump anything there, but let's go back up towards the front. We've got Jewah with teammate Tim Moore right behind it. Actually, fellow teammate in the 35, Kyle England. So the OCM guys all lined up next to each other, but we're actually going to skip ahead here as side by side, Jolene Sims and Thomas Green on the exit of turn 2. But Thomas Green, again, just can't get that inside line to stick. It just shows how strong it is on the outside for Jolene Sims. But how much longer is she going to be able to keep that up? Is it going to really hit her in the tire wear on the right sides, or is she going to be able to hold on and keep these tires fresh longer into the run?
And just as you're speaking, it almost looks like Green may have had a better entry into that situation, as it does look like Jolene is continually losing a little bit of time going into that turn, but is able to make it up going into the following turn. So, like you were saying, tire wear is going to be important right here, because I almost wonder, is she running those outside tires a little bit? And we see a hit on the wall from Thomas Green, so unfortunately mistake back there, which Jolene's probably loving seeing some of that dust, as maybe she can take advantage of it, but almost doesn't look like, I'm eating my words, because Green is right there still.
Yeah, Thomas Green has really good pace. He does really well with these style tracks. And as you said, he's doing better on entry. You can see right there, he gains time through the entry. He's good under braking. It's just right on the exit is where it seems like Jolene has a little bit of an advantage. But you look a little bit further behind. While we were talking about this battle, you see Min Heng. He's losing a time to Jewah. Drew is catching up there in the 4, and he's looking to maybe try and make a move on the 2 car to get around the McGuinness Motorsports driver. So Min Heng, this is his first oval race of the season. He was not here for the Daytona 250, but had a second place finish last week at the sorry, not the Daytona 250. That was the battle at the beach, the last race. So he's holding on really well. He's a really fast driver, and the big thing we've seen from him, he kind of struggles every now and then from tire wear, depending on the track. Some he's better at than others, but right now he seems to be holding on very, very well. 4th place for him, trying to see if he can hold on there, but Drew knocking on his door as he almost gets into the back bumper there into the braking zone.
Yeah, and especially coming up here with that dog leg, I'll be very curious to see, does he take it, because he is right there, and does look like he decides maybe not, maybe thought about it, but decided not. But these guys are basically driving the same times. They're half a second off of each other, so this is going to be a very good battle. I think this will just come down to tire strategy. Who goes in first, who goes in second, or are they going to go in together? So we're getting deeper in the race. This is going to be one of the crucial battles I'm going to enjoy watching.
And we take a look a little bit further back in the field here. This is for 11th place, Victor Imbassiani, Tyler Burden. You can see Burden gets a really good run out of turn 4. Imbassiani goes all the way down to the dog leg. And we'll see if Burden can make a move. They've gotten close many times here throughout the race. And actually, you look a little bit further back, James Mendez. And new car for him. I like that car, the Ford G Fuel in the 92. But he's going side by side with Kevin Yerguez going into turn 3. He's going to take the inside, go deep on the entry. Should be able to clear him, but will he be able to hold on to it as we go through the front stretch along to turn 1? Down to the dog leg goes the 34, side by side as they go into turn 1. And who's going to have the advantage coming out on the exit? We saw Mendez last time they came around here. He was able to get a lot of exit speed, and we're going to see the same thing here. Similar thing we're seeing at the front of the field with Jolene Sims and Thomas Green. You see Jolene take that high line. She's able to carry that momentum off the exit, and that's what keeps her in front there of Thomas Green. You see it here again. James Mendez in front of Kevin Yerguez there. That high line really playing out for him. And we'll see if more drivers try to go up there. But like I said, it's going to burn a lot of tires as we go longer throughout the race.
Yeah, and especially speaking of tires, like Alex was saying earlier, the new iRacing physics, I'll be curious to see how many of these drivers are maybe not used to it yet, as it is still relatively new, but it'll play a huge factor going in that higher line. It might be a little bit faster, but that dog leg is going to be a big factor, and high line could maybe change things up for tire usage. As we're currently seeing this battle continue, as it does look like Mendez might be feeling a little bit of that pressure, but is still staying relatively consistent, which consistency is key. After all, some of these races can be a marathon.
Yeah, we take a look at two drivers here that typically are further up in the field. JT Sipes, Isaac Shelley, currently both riding 15, 16 respectively. A little surprising to see that they haven't worked their way up the field faster. Are they going for just a safe strategy, trying to just play it safe, maybe seeing if they can make the long run? Not sure what the plan is, but very surprising to see these two this far back. But I'm sure as we go longer and longer, they're going to start working their way up, maybe finding some more pace as we go throughout the race. But now taking a look up front with some lap traffic starting to come through the field, as it's a three-way battle now for second place. Thomas Green, Jewah side by side, Jolene Sims right in front. And then you also have the 17 there. That is Christopher Law coming through the field now as he is lapped down.
Yeah, and lap traffic, especially in a smaller track like this, is something you almost have to factor in also. Because here's the reality, unfortunately, if a lap traffic gets in your line, you're going to have to back off and you're going to lose a little bit of time. And it gets a little bit of annoying, I bet, if you're leading this race. And unfortunately, you lose that lap because of traffic. But you also have to factor that in, and you have to know, hey, we're going to be dealing with it on a race like this.
Yeah, we'll see how much it's going to affect that right now. That gap between Jolene Sims, Jared Talmadge is over a second and a half. He has really built himself quite the distance at this point, gaining about a tenth or so a lap. But this battle for second place definitely heating up. Drew Jewah trying to see if he can find a way around Thomas Green. Thomas has been trying to find a way around Jolene, now having to play defense himself, as he's got the reigning three-peat champion, if I could say that correctly, going around him there as he goes around on the backstretch. And so Thomas Green's going to drop out of the podium positions right now, going to hold on to fourth place, but there's still plenty of time. I'm sure we'll see him work his way back up because he's got plenty of pace here tonight.
Indeed, and like I was saying earlier, this is a marathon, not a sprint, as you do see Min Heng try to go for a move and is successful at that move, but it does look like Green is going to maybe take that corner a little bit quicker, as they are side by side essentially, and we're going into some of the more sections where braking is important. So who's going to brake late? And it does look like Min Heng did brake late, but Green may have this speed advantage, as we do see a wall hit right there. I believe that is lap traffic, unfortunately, getting involved in that battle, and Jewah is going to be seeing some of that. Min Heng right back in the bumper, or in the wind mirror.
Oh, that is an interesting move there from Min Heng. We're going to see a crossover attempted by Thomas Green, but he's not going to have that pace. I think Green might have had to get off the throttle a little bit, and then also would have gotten a little bit of an aero push there from the two, as the two came right into his nose there as they went through turns 1 and 2 that last lap. So really tough move there by Min Heng, really forces Thomas Green to have to work. And you can see Thomas Green not happy about that, as he is riding the back bumper of the two. It almost forces the two to get a little loose as he's taking some of the air off the rear wing of him. But let's jump around here a little bit, and let's go take a look here. Battle for 14th. There's actually quite a few cars involved, a little spread out, but you've got Victor Imbasciani, James Mendez, JT Sipes, Kevin Arguelles all going at this fight. As you can see, Imbasciani goes a little wide. Oh, contact between him and JT Sipes. You see Kevin Arguelles having to dodge that one, and it's going to be JT Sipes coming out ahead. But they're going to go side by side into turn 1 and 2. You see Kevin Arguelles on the inside. And we'll see if they can catch up to James Mendez. But it looks like JT Sipes going to be able to hold on to the position. But no! He hits Kevin Arguelles. That's going to bring out the caution.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that was maybe an innocent situation, because it does look like it was a tap. So I'll be very curious to see some of those replays. But that was some very, very good battling, and unfortunately, it ended in a yellow flag. But like I said, I'll be very curious to see what happened. It almost looked like it may have been a little bit of netcode.
No, it wasn't netcode. We'll see here. You get a better angle at it. You'll be able to see that the 99, as he comes through the corner, I don't know if he thought he was clear or just didn't realize where Arguelles was, but he just comes down into him. And we can see, we'll go back and watch that one more time. You can get a better view here if we go on board with the 15. If I can find the 15. Here we go. Victor Imbasciani. We'll go on board with him. So you can see just how this all lines up. And again, not sure if it was Sipes just not realizing where he was in relation to the 34, or if he thought he was clear, but just comes right down on him. That causes Kevin Yergues to bring out the caution. But what a save there by the 34. He keeps it off the wall, keeps it off of anybody else, and so we stay. I mean, other than that, it's a very clean wreck.
Yeah, and that's very fortunate for the 34 in a way also, because he did flat spot those tires, but it's a yellow flag, and it does look like majority of the field did pit, so he may not lose that many positions. But like you were saying, that was a fantastic save, especially on a track like this that the walls aren't as far, so it's very likely to hit the wall. He was able to save it, and unfortunately didn't look like he had any damage. If anything, maybe a little bit from the tap, but damage is another big factor you have to factor in on a race like this. If you're more damaged, unfortunately, your downforce isn't going to quite be there, so you may not be able to take the more optimal line.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that he had much damage. If anything, it was maybe a small ding on the right front, but a very clean car. So real quick, a rule with the dog leg here at Phoenix. So drivers are allowed to take the dog leg on the restart. However, the exception of the rule is, and I think I mentioned this in the pre-race, they have to cross the start-finish line before they go off the racing surface and go down into the apron. So we'll see how drivers elect to try and use that. Do we see them go fan out 5, 6 wide like you see in real life in the Truck Series and the Cup Series and Xfinity Series? Or are we going to see drivers kind of just stick to the main line of things? And this is interesting. We see race leader Jared Talmadge come down pit lane. We're going to see Min Heng join him, as well as Thomas Green, Jonathan Amodio, Zach Brewster, and a couple others coming down. They're going to be topping off fuel, and they will join at the end of the longest line when they get back in formation.
Yeah, this thing makes things interesting. It almost looks like Talmadge is going to have the box all the way at the front. Oh, maybe not. Maybe a little bit of confusion, as it doesn't look like he may have gone for pit. So maybe it was just a little bit of lap traffic, but it's still going to make things rather interesting.
Oh, you know what it is? I'm sorry. That's a confusion on my end. That is for the choose cone. So instead of using the start-finish line, kind of like how they did at Daytona, they had them come down pit lane. So that is my apologies. That's a misunderstanding for me. So the inside line, they all came down pit lane. So if you take a look, the first couple rows, we've got Jared Talmadge, Drew Jewah. Then in the second row, Min Heng, Jolene Sims, teammates there from McGuinness Motorsports. Then in the third row, Thomas Green and Tim Moore. So those are your first couple rows as we get ready to go green flag racing yet again. And we'll see how things are going to fare on our first restart of the night. The field in the hands of the 16 of Jared Talmadge.
As we're getting ready to go back, it's going to be interesting to see. We have seen Talmadge in the past have relatively good starts, so we'll see if it continues as we do pass the Geico restart zone. And right as I speak, he had a fantastic start, and it does look like majority of the field is going to try to take that dog leg, which does look like it gives advantage to Min Heng, who is currently taking the lead. But Talmadge is on that outside lane, so possibly could factor in on the brakes, as it does look like Talmadge is basically door-to-door to Min Heng, and there's a couple in the back hitting the wall. So racing's getting hostile already, and we just restarted.
Yeah, you can see side by side here as they're going around to turns 3 and 4. Down the front stretch, it's going to be Jared Talmadge still in control of this one. Min Heng, though, doing everything he can. He's on fresh tires. He's going to maximize that pace as much as he can. But we have seen that outside line when it comes to passing be dominant. Caution out. We will see where that comes out. I believe that might have been... I don't know. We're going to have to find that one out.
Yeah, it's rather interesting. I thought the racing looked relatively clean, but unfortunately, I guess not. Which I would not be surprised if I was on that number 2 machine right now, where I'd be very happy that that came out, as I am currently in the lead. But if you look, here we go is the replay of what happened.
We got froze on the replay screen. There we go. So 3, 4 wide coming around turn 4. My goodness. And nope, a little bit of netcode there. That wasn't what brought out the caution. Oh, there it is. Victor Imbasciani, Isaac Shelley. Sideways, Tyler Burton in the wall. Everybody straightens out, but the sideways slides enough to bring the caution out.
Yeah, unfortunate for Imbasciani that just looked like it was just somebody not on their brakes and causing the spin, and hopefully minimal damage, as we're sitting on board right here of which car is
Tyler
this?
Burton. We'll get his perspective as he got a right front up view of it. Yeah, the cold tires, and Bassiani sends it just a bit too hard. And getting sideways. That brings out our second caution for the night.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, like you were saying, Alex. Cold tires restart, as most of these drivers do look like everyone's taken fresh tires, so the tires are relatively cold, which cold tires equals brakes don't work as well, and unfortunately leads to things like that occasionally. So we'll be curious to see if we go around how many of these drivers maybe take it a little bit easier to get those tires worn in versus some of the drivers that are going to maybe try to go a little harder to gain position on the restart.
Hey, take a look. A couple drivers did elect to come down for fuel. Looks like we had Tim Moore and Ryan Miniker come down. Tyler Burton and Bassiani coming down, but they're also taking damage repairs, would be my guess. They were involved in that incident, but the big thing is going to be maximizing your strategy at this point. How long can you take the fuel? If we get another long green flag run, that's the big thing. I mean, we look back to last season's Phoenix race. I believe we had 2 green flag stops right up to the end. We had completed the second round of green flag stops before that final caution to come. Excuse me, it got some hiccups there. But we had 2 full green flag pit cycles before we came out with that caution at the end of the race. So the big thing is, like, what is your strategy going to be? Are you going to go for fuel save? Do we anticipate a long run? We already had one really good long run, 36 laps. So we'll kind of see what the expectation is from drivers. We're going to see how many drivers are going to try and stretch it. But we'll also see who's going to be aggressive, who's anticipating this to become a little bit of an aggressive push from drivers, to see a lot of drivers try and force a lot of issues that might not need to be there, which will bring out some cautions and stuff like that. So we'll see who's looking long-term, who's looking short-term.
Yeah, and that strategy, like you were saying, there might be one of the drivers in the back of the field that might want a yellow flag because they might trust their tires a little bit longer than some of the front field. So it's a possibility of taking advantage of mistakes. But like you was talking about, strategy, especially on one of these smaller tracks that maybe an hour and a half races, it's very important to take advantage of a good strategy. Could lead you from back to front, like I was saying. So the pace car lights are off. We are going to be going green here momentarily as we see the pack start to join up. And Min Hang is very much looking happy in the front of the pack right now.
Yeah, he's going to choose the inside line as we get ready to go for our second restart of the day. Looks like Jewah staying on the inside with him. Jared Talmadge is going to be all the way up to second place on the outside. Thomas Green on the outside as well. Jolene Sims on the outside. Jonathan Amodio is up on the third place spot on the inside line. James Mendez there as well. So there's a look at your field as we get ready to go green flag racing for our third restart here of the day. Field in the hands of Min Hang this time as he gets ready to go through the Geico restart zone. Jared Talmadge on the outside. Is Talmadge going to be able to get that move done? Big jump there from Min Hang as he checks up the field a little bit. And you can see he is gone as he dives down to the dog leg, getting ready to go into turn 1. But look at the chaos behind here. It is 2 by 2 throughout the field, even 3 wide at some spots further behind.
Some of those drivers, like we were talking about earlier, were a little daring going into the first turn. So here we go. The action is back on. And you were saying how Min Hang had a great start. Min Hang already has about a 3-second gap, or 3 millisecond gap, which is huge on a track like this. And it does look like Talmadge is going to be pushing hard as we're jumping back to a battle there. And it does look like the dog leg, the 69 car, I believe, of Tim Moore, is going to be sitting and taking advantage of the dog leg. And looks like he was able to very much take advantage of that time gain.
Definitely does, moving himself up a spot. He came down, got a, just topping off the tank, be able to see if he can stretch a couple extra laps on a fuel run. Jolene Sims having a little bit of connection issues, though. You see Jewah able to work his way around her, settles in 4th place behind Thomas Green. So you got Hang, Talmadge, Green, your top 3. Jolene Sims, Jewah round out the top 5. But Jonathan Amodio, he is trying to get in there as well, as he's up a couple spots from his starting position. Oh, that is somebody on the inside wall. That is, I believe, Gatlin Downey, who took a hard lick to the inside. We'll see if that car is salvageable. And, oh, nope, he's going to slide on the apron. That's going to bring out the caution.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'll be very curious to see the replay. It looks like he may have just lost it. And unfortunately, least on my side, the car looks like it's in decent condition, but it does not look very happy to drive.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything's wrong with the car. That right front might be a little, that toe might be a little busted. My guess is the way he hit the steering, or not the right front, the left front, the way he hit that wall on the backstretch might have messed up the toe a little bit. We'll have to kind of see. We'll go back to the replay and get a view of what happened on that backstretch. But my guess is just, I mean, turn 2, it's tough to get right, especially on cold tires. The car is very loose on exit. That back end, if you get on throttle too much, it'll just get real light, and it'll be, next thing you know, the back end's in front of you. There's really not much you can do once you lose it.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, like you were saying. The car gets a little loose, and unfortunately in the wall, as we're jumping on the replay here, and exactly
We'll
what we
have to
talked
go back
about.
a little bit faster here, a little bit sooner. Go back a little bit more here, get a better look at it. Let's see it again here. Look at a more specific angle here for the 37. Yep. Back end just gets a little squirrely. That caused him to break loose down low. That wasn't what brought the caution out. It was right here as he clips the apron. The car, again, does not like that transition from the banking down to the apron. And that caused him to slide.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for him, but it does look like he might be coming out. I'm not 100% sure where his pit is, but it looks like, at least fortunately for him, that car is not damaged to the point that he has to retire the car. So, unfortunate little mistake, but doesn't mean he's done for the evening, as we're seeing a bunch of the lap cars get the Joko laps. So, we're going to be seeing a couple more laps as these guys are starting to pace up. Those tires, though, I'm going to be very curious to see. Now that we're had a couple laps under, and now we're getting into the tire comfortableness, how many of these drivers are going to jump the start?
Well, I mean, the tires should be up top now, yeah, because we got a couple laps there on that last restart. But we'll see how many drivers try to see if they want to try and push it. But again, you really can't jump the start too much. You have to cross the start-finish line before you jump down to the dogleg. And we're not really seeing as many drivers as I expected to take the dogleg all the way down to the inside wall. My expectation kind of was like whoever's in the second row on the inside, I fully expected them to be all the way down, almost to like the pit wall, to use as much of that dogleg as they can, but really nobody's doing that. So, I mean, it's a big high-risk, high-reward play, because you go down, great, you make up all that time, but then you have to figure out how to get back up on track, too. And that's where the issue is, because they don't have to give you that space. You have to cleanly rejoin up there.
Yeah, and that has unfortunately not been a big factor for yellow flags, but you are right. That rejoin is a little tricky, especially at these high speeds. So it'll be interesting as we get later and later. Maybe the desperation kicks in that you're going to be doing that deep dog like you were speaking of, or is it really worth the risk of causing another yellow flag? And that's where it's going to come. I think we're going to see the next couple of laps, maybe 50 laps, where not as many drivers are going to dive, but as we get towards the end of the race, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of them dive for it.
You can see this inside line: Minhang, Jolene Sims, James Mendez, Jarrett Talmadge, or not Jarrett Talmadge, sorry. James Mendez, then Kyle England and Zach Brewster all on the inside line for the top 5 there. Then Jarrett Talmadge. We've got Thomas Green, Jonathan Amodio, Tim Moore, and I believe that last spot is Ryan McCall in the 90 on the outside line. So that's your top 10. Couple drivers moving around a little bit. Some may be coming down for fuel. Some may even shuffling back through the order. But here we go, getting ready to go green flag racing yet again. Minhang is in control once more. So will he get a big jump like he did last time? That really benefited him to be able to hold on to that race lead through that short stint.
Yeah, indeed it did. As we're getting ready to go around to the Geico restart zone, I'll be even curious. It looks like Min might have a little bit of an advantage. There we go. We're green racing. And like you were saying, that start is huge, and it looks like majority of these drivers are going to be taking the dog leg, and it looks like the number 92
that is Isaac Shelley sideways. Big wreck there on the front stretch coming through the dog leg. Benny, the pace car driver, as soon as he put it in park, has to get it back going again. He's back on track, and you see a couple cars there sitting on the back stretch, or the front stretch going into turn 1. Victor Imbasciani, Tyler Burden. Looks like the 17 of Christopher Lull involved in that one. So I'm not sure what happened there, but Isaac Shelley broke loose real hard. We'll go back, watch that replay here, see a little bit further back in the field what brought that caution out. Like I said, all we saw was the 98 sideways, and then chaos broke out there on the front stretch.
I'll be very curious to see, is that going to be those cold tires? As it does look like there's a little bit of a checkup right up front, but as you get the restart coming down that front straight, looks like everything is all good. Oh, and just lost it on the apron, and unfortunately had that, I believe that's the 15 car run into him, and then the pile up.
Yeah, he had a couple there that got into him. The 32 of Jonathan Adams, another driver getting involved in that one. And let's go back here. I want to take you on the nose here of, oops, that's not the 98. That is the 23 of Jonathan Amodio. But here's Isaac Shelley. Hey, we go through, this is our winner from Daytona Road Course. You watch how he goes through the transitions and see how the car gets unsettled, because what happens, he rides a slight banking part of the apron of the dog leg, and you see right here, the car gets a little squirrely, does not like that transition. And you have to hit it the right way, otherwise the car gets very, very loose, and the car will break on you just like it did for Isaac Shelley.
Which is very unfortunate that a couple cars drive into him, but unfortunately, I guess it's the starting lap. It's going to happen, and now that we're back into some yellow flag, it's going to be interesting to see tire strategies for some of those cars that crashed. Are they going to have to go in and serve enough damage that they park the car, or is tire strategy maybe going to factor in on top of that damage? So we're only 56 laps in. We still have a little under 100 to go. So if you have like 10 minutes of damage, it's worth sticking around, because you have things like that happen that you could maybe get right back into this race.
Well, and then the other question comes up, if you have your fast repair still, do you use it? Most drivers should have their fast repair. So are you going to opt to use your fast repair already, or do you want to save it for a later point in the race? It's another strategy call you have to try and make, when to bring out that backup car if you need to do it at some point of the race.
Yeah, and indeed, like you were saying, the backup car is always an option. I mean, you see some of these front drivers who haven't really had to have that thought, but there's always that thought in the back of their head that, hey, if I make a mistake, I can always run in, get my backup car, and get back in this race. And that's got to be a nice feeling in the front of the pack, that if you make a mistake, it might be punished, but you can, get it back.
Now, that should be very interesting here. The next 17 laps going to be basically a sprint to the stage. Lap 75 is whenever we take our stage break, or not our stage break, but we'll take stage points. That is the halfway point of the race, and the top 10 drivers are awarded points based on their finishing position there. So we'll see how things play out for that. Right now, our top 10, you can see shuffling around a little bit, but we've got Jolene Sims, Min Hang, Thomas Green, Garrett Talmadge, Kyle England, James Mendez, Jonathan Amodio, Zach Brewster, Tim Moore, and Ryan McCall, all in the top 10 right now. So we'll see if that's going to shuffle around, who's going to work their way up. Notable names missing, so like Isaac Shelley, JT Sipes, Drew Jewah, some of the big front runners currently not in the top 10. We are actually going to go around real quick one more time for a pace lap. I believe something was messed up with how drivers were lined up. So we will do one more quick lap around under pacing, and then we will go green flag on lap 60.
And it does look like the 48 may have gotten a joker lap. So it may have been a little bit of a mess up like you were saying, but that's got to maybe spook you just a little bit as a driver as you're getting ready to go, and then you hear they were extending it. So is that going to get in the brain of Min Hang or Jolene Sims? I'll be curious to see, as both drivers have had very good restarts. So is it going to maybe mess with that idea, or is it going to really affect them? We'll see very shortly.
Well, one thing to also keep in mind with the front row being both Min Hang and Jolene Sims, they're both teammates of McGuinness Motorsports, so assuming they're both in the same radio call, would not be surprised to see them maybe try and time something to where Min gets that big jump like he has been, and then Jolene try to jump down to the inside line to try and block off Thomas Green and Jared Talmadge. So we'll have to kind of see what the strategy is going to be between these two. How are they going to try and play it? Are they going to try and set something up to try and hold on to a 1-2 for McGinnis Motorsports as we get closer and closer to that stage break? But we'll find out here in a second as we're going green flag racing yet again here at Phoenix Raceway. Min Heng gets a jump, but it's not a huge one like he's been getting. Thomas Green's going to hold on to second place as he goes down through the dogleg, and he's going to actually jump ahead of Jolene Sims. And you see James Mendez trying to see if he can work himself into the top 3 on that inside line.
And it does look like you were saying, Green had a great start, unfortunately for Sims. Mendez was very impressive going down that dog leg and almost taking advantage, and unfortunately losing out at the moment, but he's still sitting back there. And it does look, even looking back there, you got Talmage who's looking into this battle, as you do see Green make a slight mistake but was able to correct it and keep Sims behind. But Min Heng is definitely feeling a little bit of that pressure of Green and even their teammate Sims, as we do see already lap traffic becoming a little bit of a factor.
Yeah, Jimmy Amos going to be on that inside line. That's really going to mess with things as we go around. You can see Min Heng having to change where he's at. And oh, Amos in the middle of the field. Not a good thing. Caution is out, though. And I think that's, yeah, that is Isaac Shelley again. That car is beat up real bad this time. It looks like he actually might have blown his engine this time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It does look like a couple of cars were involved in the incident, so I'll be curious to see what happened in the replay, but it does look like that engine isn't blown to the point you can get it back, as we're getting the instant replay here, and looks like we're going into the first turn.
Going into turn 3. Oh, yeah, oh my gosh. That might have been a little bit more than just a small bit of contact. We'll get a better view of it to see the contact between Isaac Shelley and Ryan Miniker. Miniker in the 48 there. You can see he comes up on the inside, gets a little squirrely, gets a little tight through the middle of the corner. I wouldn't have thought that small bit of contact would have sent Shelley that hard, but it did.
It almost looked like it could. I mean, they did tap, but almost looked like netcode may have factored in more into that situation than really should have happened, because it was quite a contact on the thing as we're sitting on board Shelley right now. And let's see.
Yeah, you get,
like it's normal.
He gets in there. There's the contact. And the car just snaps, so I'm very confused on just what caused it to snap as hard as it did. Typically, contact like that doesn't cause your car to break out that hard.
No, and it doesn't look like, almost look like maybe it'd have been a wheel disconnect if you look at the wheel in the car. But you're right, a contact like that, that's typically a tap and you tap back. So unfortunately, maybe the iRacing servers got it wrong there.
Well, now the big thing that we're going to see, I mean, it's going to be a question of who's going to push as we get ready to go green flag racing. We're going to have about 8 or so laps of green flag racing to get us to the stage. But the big question, I mean, it's been a while since some drivers have come in to take tires. Lap 36 was the last time that we had actual pit stops for tires for the most part. There might have been a couple drivers here and there that have needed to take them based on incidents. But the last big full stop, lap 36. We've been on and off cautions since, and as Eddie Kalegi puts it best here in the chat, cautions do indeed breed cautions. The joys of especially short track racing. Just is the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But now becomes the strategy. The tires aren't incredibly worn because we haven't had any really long runs where you're really pushing the tires. They're not heating up too much. We'll kind of have to see what's going to be interesting is who decides to try and really send it. Like a James Mendez. This is the highest he's been all night, 4th place. Does he try and really send it for a top 3, maybe even getting a stage win? Do we see Thomas Green try and eventually make his way around? He's been pushing so hard in 2nd and 3rd place, never been in the race lead. Is he going to try and get to the race lead here? We'll kind of have to see what the strategy calls are going to be. Or are you going to see drivers kind of hold back and focus on the long-term gain of trying to hold on and put yourself in a better position for that next pit stop?
And you were speaking of tires, I actually do have the stints up here. It does look like our top couple, Jolene Sims is on 12 laps, Min Heng is on 7th, Greens are on 7, Talmage is on 26. The field's getting a little shuffled around, give it one second.
Well, remember, you have to take that with a slight grain of salt because that's taking into account as they come down for the choose cone and everything, because like Min Heng is coming down again, so.
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say, we've got a bunch of drivers that are having, I guess you are right, the tires are reset, but we have a bunch of drivers that maybe tire strategy is going to be a very big factor. Like you were speaking, do you go for the long term or do you go for the stage points and plan on pitting under that? Is there going to be yellow for the stage this race or not, Alex?
Nope. Every stage we have here in the OCM VRC, or sorry, OCM, the OMA VRC, there is no caution for the stage break. We just continue running. We'll take the points and then keep moving on. So yeah, we'll see how the strategy plays out. That's a big thing. That's what makes the racing so exciting here, is the fact that you have to play that tire strategy, and you kind of have to risk the reward there as we go through. Do you want to push and burn up your stuff for the long run if we get that nice long run? Or do you want that short-term goal of trying to get the 10 points as well as the playoff point? Right now, Min Hang trying to see if he can get himself the playoff point by winning the stage, as he gets a phenomenal jump and pulls out about a quarter of a second ahead of Thomas Green.
Which was a great start going down that Jewah lap. And even the leg, but looking up here, it does look like there are some battles. We have James Mendez, who is currently in a battle. The 92 looks like he is going, he's going to be going for fourth. His number 16 does try to do a dive bomb, but unfortunately is not capable. And you were speaking, these drivers are pulling all out for those stage points. You can even see, like, Jolene Sims is very comfortable and is right on top of Thomas Green, and even Min Hang is getting that pressure. So I wonder if some of these front drivers are maybe throwing that long-term strategy out and want those points at the stages.
But you can see Jewah is working him. Oh, gets really loose into Zach Brewster. That's going to be 4 wide coming through 3 and 4. That's going to be Tim Moore, your big winner out of that situation. But still 3 wide. Drew gets really loose on the entry of turn 3, able to hold on to it. But now shuffles around Zach Brewster. He's back to 10th place. You see Ryan McCall shuffling up to 8th place, still side by side. That is Ryan McCall, Drew Jewah, and Drew is pushing everything he can out of that 4 car. And that 4 car just is not liking it. It's every corner you see that back end slides on him, whether it's on the entry and wiggle or the exit, you see it slide out because he's getting on throttle so hard. But Drew is trying to push this car to the limit here as we get closer and closer to the stage.
Yeah, and we are about 4 laps from the stage, and you were saying these drivers, I don't think strategy is a big thing for tires right now. So many of these drivers are just pushing for those couple of points, as going forward with the 16 and the 92, and that Talmadge and Mendez are battling, and like I was saying, they're throwing strategy out to the wind as we're going through some of the more harder corners of the track. And tire strategy, though, wear on the tires has definitely got to be kicking some of these drivers.
Yeah, we'll start to see some tire wear probably come into effect over the next 10 or so laps. But you can see the front 3 pulling away. Min Hang, Jolene Sims, Thomas Green. And you can see Talmadge, he wants to work around James Mendez, but the problem is just can't seem to get a good look to be able to do it. Mendez closes the door just as he starts to get to the inside. Just can't seem to get those in there. He's going to try here again as we go through turns 1 and 2. Trying to see if he can move himself back into 4th place. Side by side on the exit, Mendez is going to have the slight advantage, but how deep is Talmadge able to go on the entry of turn 3? Sends it pretty hard. Should be able to clear the 92. He's going to slide job it up, and he's going to come on back down to the dogleg. Going to clear him for 4th place. Mendez still not out yet. Trying to see if he can get back up to 4th, but 5th place still for stage points would be a very good spot for the 92 machine.
Yeah, those points in the end will add up as these battles are starting to maybe eke out a little bit as we're coming to the last 2 laps before stage. So some of these drivers are getting comfortable, and maybe we're going to start seeing them start running long again. As it does see a tap on the wall, but we are sitting on board the 92, who is still pushing hard on Talmadge. So now we're jumping up to the front here, and it does look like Min Hang is rather comfortable and is most likely, pending mistakes, going to take the win for the stage.
Yeah, as the green and white checkered flag is out, Min Hang coming around. He will take the stage win. That is his first of the season. He'll take the 10 points happily and continue to lead here as we go through the stage. So we'll take a moment, do our mid-race break where we run down through the field to show you where your favorite drivers are on track and give you a little bit of an update on how they've been doing throughout tonight's race. Like we just said, Min Hang, your stage winner, getting his first stage win. Other than Jared Talmadge, he has led the other portion of the race. Jolene Sims is McGinnis Motorsports teammate, running around in second place. She's had some really good pace throughout tonight. Just hasn't quite gotten it figured out to get herself to the front, as you see right now, side by side with teammate Min Heng and Thomas Green, who's been running in third place in the beautiful number 3 car. I love that good wrench scheme. He is trying to see if he can work his way up. He's been kind of consistently battling, just can't seem to find that extra pace to make his way around, but now a P2 for him. Going back to fourth place, we've got Jared Talmadge. He's led a good portion of tonight's race and now trying to see if he can catch back up. He, for a while, was easily the fastest car on track, so he's trying to see if he can get back up there to continue that. Jewah rounds out the top 5. He's quietly working his way back up the field after being a little bit further back earlier on. James Mendez, a solid run so far after trying to work his way through the middle of the field up to fit top 5 for the stage. He's currently running 6th place. Tim Moore quietly running around in 7th. Not really too much from him here tonight, but last season had a really good run around Phoenix, and we'll see if he can get a top 5 finish here tonight. JT Sipes, he's up 15 spots after having rough time qualifying. He's been doing a really good job getting that 99 car back up to the front where we are used to seeing him. So 8th place right now for him. And then next to him is Kyle England in the 35. He is currently running around 9th place. Again, pretty solid run for him, riding around the back half of the top 10. So a really good run for the 35. Zach Brewster currently rounds out your top 10, and we've seen him bouncing around, trying to hold on to that top 10 spot. It's been ups and downs for him, but he's currently up 3 spots from where he started back in 13th. Jonathan Amodio, unfortunately, the other way. He's lost 3 spots. He's currently in 11th, but he's been, again, another one of those drivers. He's been riding around the back half of the top 10. He's had a good run. We'll see if he can find a little bit extra pace. Ryan McCall, unfortunately, has been a little bit of a magnet for incidents here tonight. He's got himself involved in quite a few. Currently 12th place. He's back 5 spots from where he started, but he's got pace. That's for sure. We'll see how racy he can get. And Kevin Yerguez, his first start for the 11th season of the VRC, currently finds himself in 13th. He's been up in the top 10 a couple times, but right now, just looking for a nice smooth drive. We'll see if he can continue to push up further and further. Then we've got in the 48, Luca Mazzilli. I guess he's filling in for Ryan Miniker tonight. That's my apologies. Made that mistake earlier. Oh, no, Miniker's in the 8th tonight. We'll figure that out here in a moment. But Luca Mazzilli currently 14th. Then Victor Imbasiani. He's had himself some troubles getting involved in multiple incidents, even bringing out a caution himself. But he's currently 15th. We'll see if he gets a little bit more stable with the car, a little bit more comfortable. Brad Qualls, he's been quietly running around here. He's up 8 spots from where he started in 16th. So, sorry, he's currently in 16th. Then we have Gatlin Downey. We saw him take a big hit on the inside wall in the backstretch. Currently up to 17th. Then we've got Ryan Miniker in the 8 car. That's very weird to see. Used to seeing him in the 48. I guess he made that change now because we see him in a Kyle Busch scheme. But then we've got Christopher Law in the 17. He's currently in 19th spot. And then Tyler Burton, unfortunately, again, another one of those drivers that's been involved in a couple incidents. He's currently running a lap down. We'll see if he's going to be able to continue moving up, but he is in 20th. Then we have Jared Newton in the 45. We haven't seen him much here tonight, unfortunately. He's currently in 21st. And then we got Jimmy Amos. Caution is out, and it looks like it is going to be Brad Qualls that brings out that caution. We'll go back and see what brought that one out here in a moment. But that was our mid-race break, where we got a chance to go through the entire field and show you where everybody is on track.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there's a yellow flag out. That was some good racing, and let's see, we're going through the last turn and going in the dog leg, and again, looks like it was that unstableness.
Yeah, the car hits that transition and just does not like that. And we see again, it's going to bite the car. If you don't hit it right, it's going to make you spin, that's for sure. So now we see the mass entrances down pit lane, led by Thomas Green, who's now your race leader. Jolene Sims second, Min Heng third. So we're going to see the full stops for tires, full fuel, and with 66 laps to go, would not be surprised if this could possibly be the last stop. It'll be pretty close on fuel, that's for sure.
Yes, some of these drivers, I bet, with how the race has been going, some of these drivers are probably betting on another yellow flag. And unfortunately, with the race we've had, I would not be surprised if another one comes out. So some of these drivers, especially your Min Hangs, your Talmadge, your Sims, they might be hoping for a yellow flag and fueling up and maybe coming on that next yellow flag. And right here with the 66 to go, that is very likely, I'd bet. I'm not sure about you, Alex, but unfortunately, this has been a little bit of a flag fest.
Oh yeah, there's definitely potential for caution to come out. Again, remember, we're on cold tires too. We've seen when drivers try to push these tires and they don't get the chance to warm up, very easy for them to break loose. So we'll see how we do on the restart here. We have new driver up front though, Thomas Green. He's led his first few laps, so he finally able to get himself to the front. But we see a little bit of shuffle around up here up front. We see right now our top 5 staying the same, just shuffling the order a little bit. But outside of that, James Mendez in 6th, then JT Sipes in 7th, Kyle England 8th, Ryan McCall in 9th, and Zach Brewster in 10th. So a couple drivers like Drew Jewah, Tim Moore, outside of the top 10. We'll see how they bounce back as we get ready to go green flag here. I believe 2 go at this point.
And it does look a lot of these drivers are liking taking the pit lane. I've noticed on these flags. Maybe there's an advantage. I'm not really sure for some of these guys, but it might also just be maybe a mental thing, trying to spoof some of the drivers that are on the track to when they come back out. But I can imagine that some of these drivers are starting to find that zone again and getting ready to get back in rhythm as we're going around one more time, I believe.
Yeah, this is going to be 1 to go because we're doing the choose. Again, pit lane is where the inside line goes for the choose. So you can see Thomas Green, Min Hang, Jared Talmadge all elect for the inside line. JT Sipes as well electing to be down the inside line. So on the outside, leading that outside line is going to be Jolene Sims. And then you're going to have James Mendez behind her and then Kyle England behind him. So you can see a wide mix of drivers here. Some drivers trying to work their way up to the top 5. Mendez, one of those drivers. He's right there on the bubble. We'll see if he can work his way up. But why not as we go ready to go green this time around, we're going to turn off the mics and we're going to kick up the sound on track and give you the sights and sounds around the Phoenix Raceway. Oh, geez. Big wreck as we come around turn 3. JT Sipes. Oh, we see the 06 again getting involved. Min Hang was backwards in the wall. We'll go back and get the replay here in a moment. But we will give us 1 second here as we figure that out. Not sure what brought that out. It looks like JT Sipes might have gotten into Min Hang. But let's see just exactly what happened as we come around turns 3 and 4.
Yeah,
actually, that is Jared Talmadge. Yeah, Min Hang comes down. Talmadge just sends it a little too hard. JT Sipes tries to go high to stop it. Oh, no, Jonathan Amodio gets into the 99 of JT Sipes, turns him around. And that is unfortunate. Min Hang was the front runner, having a really good run. But I'm going to go back, watch that one more time. We'll watch it from the perspective of the 23 of Jonathan Amodio, so you can see just exactly what he was looking at as he comes up on the wreck. And it's hard to try and make a quick sudden adjustment here in these cars, especially through the middle of the corner. So that might have been what he was going with and just tried to do what he could and just couldn't get the car to turn down.
Yeah, unfortunately, it just looks like exactly you're saying. He couldn't come down, and fortunately, he was on the brake. So damage might be minimal, but unfortunate for him, he might have a little bit of damage.
Yeah, we can take a look. I think he takes his fast repair. He did have some damage on that front end. Not sure how crinkled up that nose was, but definitely gonna cause some extra heat to go into the engine without giving proper air circulation in there. So our 7th caution of the night, unfortunately. Oh, we lost our leader. Oh, that's awkward. There he is. He is back. But we're going to be less than 60 to go as we go green flag racing this next time around. Not next time around, my apologies. Probably the next one after this. I believe we will do our choose this time. But with less than 60 to go, we've got 7 cautions so far. Hopefully, we can get a nice long green flag run again, because we had a really good one to start off the race. Just got to try and be a little bit patient here, see if we can figure things out. The big thing is it's just drivers getting a little squirrely. That's what we've really seen other than that last incident. It's been pushing a little bit too hard on entry, or maybe pushing a little bit too hard on the exit. The back end kicks out. It's really not anything that's racing incident deals. It's more just slight mistakes here and there that's brought out our cautions so far.
Yeah, and talking about the drivers, I would not be surprised if some of these front drivers are, especially with their fuel strategy, loving these yellows, because we have 60 to go, and fuel is definitely a factor. But if we keep pulling these yellow flags out, some of these drivers might be lifting on a little bit and saving fuel. So we may not see another pit for fuel, but tires may be the factor that kicks in, I think.
Well, another driver, one that always plays strategy, and we see him always come down pit lane, regardless of the choose cone, is Tim Moore. He comes down almost every caution, is splashing up a little bit of fuel. He's trying to just make sure he can get those extra couple laps, because you never know. You never know when we're going to get a long green flag run, and so he's trying to make sure his car is in position to be able to make it. If everybody's going to be a lap or two short, that doesn't matter. If they're a lap or two short, that's more than enough time for him to get ahead. Even if he's back about 12, 15 seconds, they come in, they have to do a quick splash and dash. He's going to be able to find his way around them because he's on track. So we'll see. He's been playing that strategy. There's a couple others that keep coming down each time. We'll see if they're going to have the benefit. If we do get a long green flag run, 59 laps, will be 52 to go at the line. The field is in the hands of, I believe, Thomas Green. He's on the outside this time with Jared Talmadge on the inside. Green flag. They're going to be side by side. Well timed by the 16 of Jared Talmadge. We're going to see him dive all the way to the inside, and that might get him clear of the 3. Not going to. 3 wide behind, though, for the 3rd place.
Well, even looking ahead here, it looks like Talmadge had a great dog leg, as he is still right on top of Green. And even the battle between Jolene Sims and Mendez is starting to heat up right
Holy
back
squeeze!
There.
Wow,
Yeah,
that was a tight squeeze.
Yeah.
Jolene Sims squeezed in the middle between James Mendez and Drew Jewah, and somehow nobody wrecks out of that. She managed to hold on to the car, but she's probably rattled a good bit there. Zach Brewster, the big benefactor out of it. He moves up to 4th place. No, Jolene Sims! She's around on the backstretch.
Ooh, and unfortunately, looks like most of the drivers were able to get out of the way. So Jolene doesn't have any damage other than that front end damage. So fortunate for her, but man, that's really unfortunate, as it did look like she was driving relatively impressively, especially after having that tight squeeze. And we're gonna wait for that replay to see what happens, but unfortunate situations for her, as I'll be curious to see if her fast repair.
Yeah, we'll see here as we go through turns 1 and 2. I think it's just gassing up maybe a little too hard. Yeah, you can see that back end, it starts to break loose, and then Kyle England, nothing he really can do as she was coming across him. He tries to let off. You can see he slowed down for a moment. Nothing he really could do, though. I want to go back here. I want to see this pass one more time, where they squeezed the 3 wide, and they literally made contact all around. You see Drew blocked a little bit by Jolene. Here we go into turn 3. They're 3 wide. James Mendez, I don't think, realized how close they were, as he slams Jolene Sims down into Drew Jewah and forces that 3 wide. Again, amazing that they all kept those cars straight, and they kept that green flag racing. You see Zach Brewster able to capitalize on the that big move there by Jewah to really push that inside and get that 3-wide pass done.
Yeah, and I was just sitting on board Jolene Sims. It does look like Sims did use her fast repair, and she did take both sets of tires. So tires for Jolene should be set for the rest of the race for all you Jolene Sims fans out there. And she also, I believe, did get some fuel. So she should be set for the next couple of laps. So she is running the back of the pack, though.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out for her. Again, we really don't know, at least for like this race, what a full fuel run is, because we haven't had a chance to get one. The longest we've gone on fuel is 36 laps of green flag racing. I believe another driver coming down, Victor Imbassiani. He's going to come down and take service as well. Maybe just trying to make sure he is going to be good to make it to the end. But we'll see how Jolene recovers. She's back to 14th. I'm sure she's going to take whichever line is shorter to try and kind of maximize track position. But we've got right now your top 5 is going to be Thomas Green, Garrett Talmadge, Drew Jewah, Zach Brewster, James Mendez. We'll see how things are after the choose line. It could very well change up depending on who's on that outside line. You see Jared Talmadge electing for the outside. Thomas Green tested the outside line last time. Did not like it because you saw he had Jared Talmadge pushing on his inside really, really aggressively, even from the get-go. That outside line really did not give Thomas Green any benefit.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like you were saying, we really haven't had a fuel run. So some of these drivers may not have been able to test that top line. They've been very much forced to take the low line. So there's really options in the top for some of these drivers? They don't really know. But the pace car lights do go off, so we get one more time around. And these drivers are maybe starting to think about trying to push a little harder, as it's just yellow, 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 yellow. So if I was in the front, I'd be maybe trying to push harder to try to get a little bit of a gap.
But then the question comes in, do you prioritize the track position? In most situations, track position is king. But like we've seen Tim Moore. He comes down pretty much every caution to take a little bit of fuel. This time he did not, it seems like. I believe he stayed out this time. But, I mean, once you're in the green, you don't really have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about saving. You can make sure you're good to go. But we don't know if these drivers are in the clear. They came down on lap 84. That is still 65 laps to go green flag racing to make it to the end. These cautions only helping stretch that fuel run, but we'll see how long we're going to be able to go if these drivers are going to be good on fuel, because we go green flag racing. Definitely going to be an interesting strategy race as Thomas Green is going to take the green flag and pull ahead of both Drew Jewah and Jared Talmadge, and Drew able to capitalize on that inside line. He's going to move himself up into second place, I believe, for the first time here tonight.
Yeah, and the drivers are very starting to get in the racing moves. We're going too wide in some of these corners. And that was a really good start from Green. But we're looking back here. Some of these drivers, there's 3 wide going through the one turners, are going to the dog leg. And was one of the biggest winners of that has to be...
Oh, big contact. JT Sipes sliding through 1 and 2. He saves that. How on earth did JT Sipes keep that car straight as he was Tokyo drifting through 1 and 2? And now Jolene Sims on the... Oh, my gosh. Chaos down the back stretch.
Yeah, unfortunately, like someone said in our chat, yellow breeds yellows, and unfortunately we're just gonna have another yellow. And again, like the conversation we were having before, do you push for position right now, or do you play it smart and just try to hope for long runs? And I think the question more comes, how long are going to be these stints before you get a yellow flag? Because it feels like restart, maybe get 1 lap, then a yellow flag, as we're checking out the replay right here.
Yeah, this one, so we need to slow this one down, because this was wide mix of things that had happened. So there was that 3Y just not realizing it's spatial awareness. It's a big thing. You don't realize where some of these cars are around you. That's the danger of the dog leg, trying to rejoin. Then you have the 48 Luca Mazzilli sending it on the inside, trying to avoid the wreck. But then that's what really stems everything. We pause it right there. We go back, watch one more time here. Look at the 48 on that inside line, Luca Mazzilli. He's going to send the inside line, and you see the 34 get into the 90. That is Ryan McCall and Kevin Yerguez. But the way the 48 comes down, that slight transition causes the back end to break loose. He breaks into the 34 and then it wasn't able to recover, because you see as they come through the exit of turn 2, we'll go back one more time here and we'll take a look specifically at that 48. Because you can see as they get down to the backstretch, that's where the problem arises, because he gets right there in front of the 34. We'll watch that one more time here. And you see that's where Jolene Sims unfortunately took a significant bit of damage too. Just squeezing the 34 there in the middle, nowhere for anybody to go. That caused him to buckle up.
Yeah, and that's very unfortunate for Sims, who's just coming off of a rather rough wreck. So, unfortunately, I think Sims might be hanging up the boots for the evening, but we'll be curious to see. It does look like her car is looking okay, so I might be wrong there. But unfortunately, yellows are breeding yellows and breeding yellows, and some of these drivers, especially if you're in the front, are maybe starting to get a little irritated, as you just want to drive and get those points and win.
And taking a look here in the chat, Eddie, unfortunately, not very happy with what's happening with his McGinnis Motorsports drivers. Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be Jolene Sims Min Hang. Not really having great luck here tonight. Min has worked his way back up to the top 10 after his incident, but just after having her own, Jolene is back again. Looks like the car got fixed, though, so it doesn't look like she's got significant damage. So we'll see how she's able to respond to it. But she's going to be taking that inside line, so it'll move her up to, it looks like, 9th place. But the big thing is, just right now, it seems like wreck avoidance. Who's going to be able to keep their car clean the longest at this point in this race?
Yeah, and especially those front drivers, they're, like I said earlier, they're probably itching to drive, but they're also probably almost happy that they're not having to drive too much, because as you've been watching, typically the driver that's been in the lead on the lower lane is having the better start. So maybe if you're in a position like Thomas Green, you're liking this. But I know personally I would be like, I want to race. So, but sometimes mind games comes into play in these races, because they are, after all, marathons after all.
Eddie Kalegi is throwing out the over-under for cautions. He's saying 15 when it's all said and done. We've got 47. It'll be 46 to go across the line. I really hope that we're not going to have another 6 cautions. I would love to be able to see this go green for the majority of the race here. But we'll see how things are going to go. Front row, Thomas Green, Drew Jewah. Then in the second row, we've got James Mendez and Jared Thomas. James Mendez could possibly work himself up to second place. Thomas Green is going to, I believe he is the race leader, so we're going green on him. It's going to be a big jump there for the 3. Here comes the 92. What is he going to be able to do alongside the 4 machine? Will he be able to move himself up a spot, or are we going to see Drew Jewah hold on there? As a big send from the 92. Can he get the nose on the inside? He's there, but maybe by a hair. It looks like Drew's able to pull ahead. He's up to second place, but look out, because here comes the 16 down the inside as he crosses over in the backstretch. He's going to take a big send going late on the braking. He's going to be on the inside of the 92. Can Mendez hold on to that outside line? Trying to see if he can hold on to the podium. It would be his first ever since we switched over to iRacing. It would be awesome to see James Mendez be able to work his way up to a podium finish on that outside line. He's been running out there almost all day. It doesn't look like he's going to have that pace, or at least early on in the run. Going to look for maybe that crossover. Big hit on the outside wall there for, that is Luca Mazzilli in the 48. But we're green flag racing, still 44 to go as we get ready to go across the line. James Mendez settling into third place, and the top about 6 or 7, pretty much single file at this point.
Yeah, some of these drivers might be getting back into that pace. And unfortunately, a couple of these drivers keep tapping the wall. So damage is going to become a factor for some of these drivers, maybe 9th, 10th, 11th. And with a track like this where downforce is key, those taps will add up as the battles up front are still continuing. You got Jared Talmadge and Drew Jewah currently fighting really well. And speaking of which, Jewah just hits the wall, and it's going to add up in the end.
And we take a look. This is currently a battle for 9th place. You've got Ryan McCall back here. Trying to hold off Victor Imbasciani, and look at Imbasciani missing the entire front end of his car, driving a modified, as he said up in the chat. We'll see if he's able to keep pushing. Would be 9th place if he's able to work his way around McCall. You can see JT Sipes up there as well in the 99. He's currently riding around in 8th place. But lots of 2, almost 3 wide battling back here, trying to get up into that top 10. Drivers trying to look for a good finish, really capitalize early on this season. We move a little bit further back up the field. The battle for 4th place. It's a 4-way fight almost, as Jolene Sims has worked her way slowly back up the field. But James Mendez, those tires look like they have warmed up again. That outside line being very kind to him as he's holding off Tim Moore, who's been really pushing that inside.
Yeah, and that dog leg is becoming a huge factor once again, as we do see Tim Moore and Mendez going back and forth when battle. And speaking of which, they're door to door, and that level of respect right there. And right behind, Min Hang is probably loving this because they'll be able to also get involved in this battle. We're going around that first turn. There's a Geico restart zone, and Min Hang is right aside Moore. And there's a tap.
Min Hang is going to squeeze down on the inside on the exit of turn 4. 3 wide. Min Hang is taking an unusual line. He dives down to the apron here. He's going to jump back up to the racing surface. Still not clear. 3 wide on the exit of 4. My goodness, it looks like Mendez going to pull ahead. Jolene Sims joining this fight. 2 wide now, as it looks like Tim Moore going to send it real deep. Never mind. Jolene Sims down the inside. JT Sipes now getting involved in this fight. It is James Mendez currently holding on to 4th place, but my goodness, they are 2 by 2 behind. Teammates from McGinnis Motorsports side by side. Who's going to pull ahead? Min Hang or Jolene Sims? Looks like Min Hang, that outside line is going to prevail for him. Jolene Sims settles into 6th place, but still side by side for what is 7th place between Sipes and Moore.
Yeah, and these battles are going to start heating up even more because the tires are starting to heat up. And you can see right there, it's the Snipe just made a great move in front of Tim Moore. And unfortunately, Tim Moore's tires might be starting to feel, as it does look like Snipes may have been able to save those tires, as he's starting to look at Jolene Sims and going, hey, I want your position, as that battle is do die down. But they are back to 2 by 2. And right behind, you've got that move. And it's going to be interesting to see as we are getting down to the last 37. Do tire wear kick in, or is it going to be a matter of a yellow flag?
Oh, and you can see with these guys battling up here, that it's allowed both Ryan McCall and Zach Brewster to get back into the fight. But you can see Jolene Sims, Min Hang, they're both trying to see if they can work their way around James Mendez. You know they have pace. We've seen them run up front. But again, you talk about, are we going to get another caution here before the end of the race? Truly, I mean, like Isaac Shelley says here in the chat, we hope not. We would love to see this go green flag to the end, because you can see just how intense this racing is. Some great battling throughout the entire field. Mendez gets pushed to the outside. Min Hang going to move up to 4th place. Jolene Sims trying to see if she can follow her teammate, and she's going to try and move up back into the top 5. She's going to have the inside line on Mendez. Can Mendez make that outside line stick? He's been working it out there all race long, but it just seems like that inside line finally is getting that really good pace to be able to make the moves. As you see, Jolene Sims going to set it deep on the inside. Should be able to clear James Mendez. As we go a little bit further up ahead here, you can see the race leaders pulling away from the field. Thomas Green right now has about a 3/4 second lead over Talmadge, and they've got about a 2-second lead ahead. Oh, never mind. I spoke too soon.
And unfortunately, right there is that yellow flag that's going to come out for somebody like Green, who I would be not surprised if he's getting a little frustrated with that, because he's driving so well. He's been leading for majority of the races. We do see the replay, and
this is Zach Brewster. We'll see what happens here with the 0-5, and it's a little bit of contact, a little bit of the car getting loose. Just, again, turn 2 is a very dangerous exit. As you can see, the car just, it gets very light in certain situations. But now we're at an interesting point. We're not really at an interesting point. It's unfortunately, we lose the strategy portion of tonight's race. There were drivers playing the fuel game, trying to play the long game, making sure they can make it on fuel. With 3 to go, everybody is coming down pit lane. You're taking 4 tires. You're topping off as much as you need for fuel, I would assume, to make it through all 3 overtimes if we were to need it. So, like I say, unfortunately, this strategy portion of tonight's race when it comes to fuel and pits is done. We'll see how everybody comes out of the pit lane. Looks like Did Drew beat out Jarrett? No, Jarrett Talmadge back to the race lead. Jewah second, Minhang third. Thomas Green drops back from the race lead back to 5th place.
That's unfortunate for him, as he was leading majority of the second half of that race. But Talmadge is probably going to be feeling that pressure, as Jewah and Hang have looked very, very fast. So Talmadge has looked good, but is he going to be able to keep that pace that those two drivers behind him? Even Sims has looked relatively quick. It's going to be interesting to see, and the tire warming up and the fuel strategy. Well, the field's out the window now, but the tires are going to be important. How quickly can you heat it up, and who can heat it up the quickest?
When you still have to worry about tire wear, because across 30 laps, there you can definitely have that fall off if you push too hard. So you have to find that balance between pushing hard, but making sure you don't kill, especially that right front is where you're going to feel it, because of the way you take these corners. So we'll see who's going to have the best strategy here in this potential. Almost, it's a long run, but it's a short sprint as well. It's kind of a mix here because these laps go by so quickly. Less than 30 seconds for a lap here around Phoenix. So we'll see how things go. We're going to get ready to go through the choose, but you can see our top 5: Jarrett Talmadge, Drew Jewah, Min Hang, Jolene Simpson, Thomas Green round out our top 5. So we'll see how things fare as we get ready to go green flag racing next time around.
Yeah, things will be rather interesting. Is this going to be who's going to get a good start? And like you were saying, you got to watch your tire wear here, because we do have about 32 laps to go. But these tire usage, if you're taking that dog leg, do spike up. And the dog leg has been the optimal line, it looks like, as most of these drivers are taking it. So it's a matter of how hard do you push here? Do you risk your spot for tire wear and risk maybe not having the opportunity to pit again, or do you drive it smart and hope no yellow flags come out? That's where the fun of these last couple of laps are going to be, as you do see the lights on the pace car are off, so next lap is live.
Yep, we're going to get ready to go green flag racing. 30 laps to go. What's going to feel like a sprint if we go green flag all the way. So Jarrett Talmadge, Drew Jewah, 1-2 last season in the point standings, currently 1-2 on track. Who's going to come out victorious? Will it be one of them, or will we see somebody else come from the woodwork to get their first win of the season? We'll have to wait and see. Lots of drivers ready to go. Some making their way up to the front for the first time here tonight. You see Ryan Miniker up there, Kevin Yerquez, both in the top 10. We haven't seen them up here very often. Green flag racing is Jarrett Talmadge going to pull ahead of Drew Jewah on the restart. And that's going to force Drew to be side by side with Jolene Sims. Minhang even looking to peek the outside. Oh! Holy cow, we saw a dart on the outside wall. Holy cow.
Yeah, unfortunately, right there, I'd be curious to see, was that a tire situation? Was that a driver mistake? But I wouldn't be surprised if that's just their tires. They warmed or tried to heat their tires up way too quickly, as we're going to see the replay right here.
Yeah, I don't know where that stemmed from. All we saw in the back of the view was the 99 of JT Sipes. It just became a rocket, the outside line. And it is the 48 again, making contact again with Luca Mazzilli. And that sends him to the outside. And it's kind of crazy just how much that little tap. Look at this. Look how small this contact is between the two of them. And it's that little bit of contact that just launches him to the outside. Caught up the 37, the 8 car. Looks like maybe a couple others. No, just the 3 of them. The way the angle was that we were looking at, though, in real time, made it look way worse than it was.
Yeah, indeed it did. And that's it. The cold tires right there. I mean, not that that would have, been savable on warm tires, but unfortunately, cold tires may have excavated that just a little bit with some of the damage. But it does look like, fortunately, it was a little small. And now we're going back to some yellow flag pacing. And I think we might, unfortunately, go 15, like we said in the chat. But I'll be curious to see, as we do have 28 to go. There's only so many more laps for cautions to be thrown.
Yeah, by the time we get ready to go green flag racing, I believe it'll be about 25 to go. We'll kind of have to see. We shouldn't have too many people coming down pit lane. Victor Mbasiane like to come down. Gatlin Downey, JT Sipes, Jared Newton, Ryan Miniker, and Luca Mazzilli all coming down pit lane. But it'll be interesting to see who decides to take the inside line, who takes the outside line. Based off that last restart, I mean, we had Kevin Yergues. He's up to 6th place. Brian McCall up to 7th. So some drivers who've been bouncing around that top 10 spot all night long, currently in a pretty decent spot trying to solidify themselves into the top 9. And James Mendes hopping in the chat, he says he almost died in that wreck. Yeah, I mean, we saw, like I said, the 99 just turned into a rocket to the outside wall. And it's kind of crazy that little bit of contact that they had created that big of an incident.
Yeah, unfortunately, I almost maybe was it amplified because it was a part of the dog leg, so maybe the uneven surface of the apron may have caused a little bit more damage, but anything is really possible as we do the cold tires, the restart, and yeah, it's unfortunate, but you know what? Some of these drivers still have to stay focused as we're going to have 27, you said about 25, I'd say about 25 laps after the flag to go, and maybe some of these drivers are banking on the GWC, so maybe you just kind of have to get in that zone where you're going to just be pacing most of the rest of the lap.
Yeah, so it looks like we are going to have 25 to go here as we take our choose this time. So we got Jared Talmadge on the inside, and Drew's going to be on the outside.
Yeah, as all you see the drivers coming back in, you have the ones that decided to take the pit lane strategy, and now I believe the safety car lights are off, so we're getting ready to go green once again. And you got Talmadge, who had a relatively good start last restart, going to be starting on that inside line. So is Jewah going to be able to keep up, or is Talmadge going to run away with that start? We're about to see as we're getting ready to go to the Geico restart zone.
Yeah, so we've got the 4 that we've had up front for most of the race, 5 if you count Thomas Green as well. They're all up in the first 3 rows, so we're going to see who's going to have that extra pace here at the end of the race. 25 to go as they come across the front to the Geico restart zone. Jared Talmadge going to lead them across the line. And here we go, green flag racing again. Drew tries to time it. Uh-oh. That might not be good if he jumped the line in front of Talmadge. And my goodness, side by side, 4 wide across the front as we get lots of contact across the turn 1. And it is almost 3 wide as Thomas Green is shoving Jared Talmadge around turns 1 and 2 onto the backstretch. Jolene Sims on the inside. She's going to drop back a good bit. She's going to try and stay alongside Thomas Green. And Jared Talmadge coming across, shutting the door as he's going to get back to the race lead. He's going to hold on. Jolene Sims second, Thomas Green third, Jewah fourth, and it looks like Min Heng is going to be settling into 5th.
And there's unfortunately another yellow. It does look like some of the drivers up in the front are bumping around a little bit, but I'm going to be very curious. It does look like Ryan McCall may have fallen off a little bit, so possibly him, and does look like somebody is in the pits now with some unfortunate damage.
We had a couple drivers involved there. We'll figure out who all got caught up in that incident. We haven't seen much of him tonight, unfortunately, but Jared Newton definitely took a significant amount of damage from it. And we'll take a better look here at this angle as to what really brought that caution out. And yep, so for him, it was catching that apron wrong. Holy cow, though, Kyle England got sent. Let's go back one more time here. Yeah, I mean, Jared Newton, you can see it really stemmed from the way Imbassiani comes down on him. You see Imbassiani comes down. Nothing wrong with it either. It was just Imbassiani running his line. I don't think Newton expected him to be there. Comes down just trying to avoid the contact, catches again that apron. You catch it wrong, it's going to cause that car to slide, and then just tries to lock it down, can't do it. That sends Kyle England to the outside wall. Ryan Miniker also caught up in that, as well as I believe that was that Zach Brewster? Yes, it was Zach Brewster. So he was having himself a really good run, and now has been caught up in a couple incidents. And that pretty much probably ends his night.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. A lot of our back half of the pack are looking like, unfortunately, they're done this evening, and it's been a rather rough race for a lot of those drivers back there. I mean, you see Talmadge and Sims and Green and Jewah and Hang. A lot of those drivers have been able to stay away from those crashes, and you see where they're sitting. They're sitting first, second, third, fourth, but a lot of those drivers back there just are seeming to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and unfortunately, their races are getting destroyed by little mistakes like that. On a track like this, they got amplified.
So now this time we'll have, I believe, 19 to go when we go green flag racing next time. And that you can see just how dangerous that dog leg is. That's where we've had major issues. Each time it seems like on these restarts, you see these drivers fan out 3, 4, even 5 wide. And then even coming across the first couple laps while we're working on negotiating who's where on track, trying to fan out and get some good racing going on. You just have some negotiating of things, and that's where things start to come an issue. But 12 cautions now. I'm rooting for the under here, guys. I do not want that fit over 15, but right now Eddie's prediction of 15 cautions is looking, unfortunately, more and more realistic than we really would like at this point. So we'll see if we can keep green flag racing. We would love a nice long green flag run to finish out the race. We'll see if we're going to take the choose this time around. It looks like possibly. Yes, there goes Jared Tallman to the inside. Jolene Sims also electing for the inside. Thomas Green and Jewah taking the outside. Min Hang, you can see, takes the inside as well.
Yeah, I'm with Alex here. I'm hoping that we stay under the 15 as when we've had green flag racing, it has been spectacular racing. Even these restarts have been great, but unfortunately, they've been cut short, and I don't know about you guys, but I just want to see some good, hard racing that doesn't have any contact. But that 15 is looking more and more favorable as we're getting ready to rejoin this pack from the pit drivers.
Yeah, so we'll get ready to go green flag racing with 19 to go. And I believe it is Jared Talmadge who is in the race lead. Yeah, Talmadge is in the race lead, so we'll go green off of him. Thomas Green on the outside, so we'll see how Thomas Green is going to do on the restart. Jolene Sims, she's been known to really send it on these restarts, so we'll see if she's going to be able to work her way up to P2 and how quickly she's able to respond to Jared Talmadge when he gets through the restart zone. As we go down the backstretch, you can see some of the drivers trying to see if they can warm up those tires, maybe get a little bit of the marbles off of them as well, but we're going to be going green flag racing here very shortly.
You can see Jolene Sims wiggling around to get some of that heat as we are getting ready to go around that turn 3. And shortly we'll be seeing the Geico restart zone. And I'll be curious to see who gets the better start. Talmadge and Green have looked good as we do pass the Geico restart zone. And it does look like Talmadge has gotten a better start as we are going around. But Green is right there, door to door, and even looking behind. Sims and Jewah are door to door, and even right behind their door to door. And it does look like Talmadge has been able to take advantage going into the back section. And there's a wall tap by Jewah, and they're starting to single file out in the front here. And it does look like we are getting back to some good racing.
Yeah, they are bumper to bumper top 5. It looks like Tim Moore trying to see if he can make a move and work his way into the top 5. He's going to get around Min Hang there. Here comes Thomas Green on the inside, dipping down to the apron a little bit. It's not going to benefit, though. Jared Talmadge is going to hold on to that race lead, but look out, that 3 is still there. A big hit on the outside wall by the 4 of Jewah, as he's going to be side by side with Thomas Green. Jared Talmadge able to get right in front of that 3 car. He's got the bumper right on him, though. But we'll see how things go as we continue through 17 laps to go. It's still Jared Talmadge's race to lose. He's been the fastest car on track for the majority of tonight. Thomas Green also leading a significant portion of tonight's race. And Jewah, we've seen him up front a little bit, but he is still hanging in there. We'll see if he can make a move. Maybe trying to see if he can save those tires to keep them fresh right for the end. But with this track, again, these laps take off very quickly. So you need to set up your move, and you can't wait too long. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough time to try and get the pass done.
Yeah, like you were saying, Green is just standing right on there, and even Jewah is waiting for a mistake to take advantage of. And this is going to be, if we say with green flag racing, probably the battle for P1 for the next 16 laps. So you do see Green think about a move, and he is right there, but it does look like Talmadge is going to be able to stay ahead as of the moment as we do go through the dog leg. And Jewah is also standing right on top of Green. And it does look like Talmadge may have made a little mistake as Jewah and Green are right on top of his bumper.
Oh, that is Drew in the outside wall. A little bit of contact between the 3 and the 4. I believe it's netcode. Right now, Jewah having a lot of troubles with connection there, but thankfully that car seems to be okay other than a little bit of damage to the right side. That is going to allow Jared Talmadge to pull away a little bit. He still only has about a 10th gap. It's not much. These cars still are nearly bumper to bumper as we come through turns 1 and 2. Tim Moore holding on to 5th place, seeing if he can work his way around Jolene Sims, but just can't seem to find himself an opportunity. But Thomas Green being very patient. How much longer is that patience going to extend? Because he's looking for his first race win. Jared Talmadge already has his own. He won the Daytona 250. He's looking to see if he can get a second win this season, but Thomas Green definitely wants to get his first. He almost gets into the 16 through 1 and 2. Very close as they almost make contact in the middle of the corner.
And looking at my side, Jewah might have a little bit of damage on the floor of the spark. That might be a little bit of the net code, but even looking back, it looks like Green's having a little bit of net code, so the server might be starting to fall apart a little bit, but it does look like Green is edging closer and closer to Talmadge, and Talmadge is definitely feeling the pressure, but unfortunate for Jewah, they're starting to fall back just a smudge. So this battle for P1 is really just becoming between two drivers, and Jolene Sims is possibly looking at getting that third position as Jewah is starting to fall back a little bit, and Sims is taking advantage of it.
Yeah, we ride on board here with Thomas Green to go around Phoenix Raceway. We haven't really taken a lap on board with anybody. You can just see how close the middle of the corner. He's been so good on the entry in the middle of the corners. It's the exits where he loses a lot of time. We saw this earlier in the race with Jolene Sims. He would make up a ton of time on entry, and then it was the exits where she would beat him off. And then you see here again, he goes in on entry, gets in, is able to gain time on Talmadge, but then Talmadge just gets a much smoother exit from him. And so you can see, moving down to the apron, is able to gain some time here, but again, just not enough. He can't seem to get within striking distance, trying to stick that car on the yellow line, almost getting to the back end there of the 16, but again, Talmadge, because he's riding that wider line, able to get a better runoff, and so still holding on now with 9 to go across the line this time. Jared Talmadge still going to be your race leader.
Yeah, and Talmadge is definitely starting to feel the pressure. You do see Jewah hit the wall again behind, but Jewah is starting to make a little bit of that pace up, but still Green and Talmadge are very much neck and neck, probably matching each other on the moves, and this battle is going to go towards the end. And unfortunately for Jewah, I think the battle for P1 is no more. Maybe it's going to have to settle for P3, which is still good points, but unfortunately for them, who's been having a great race, third possible championship race or their win race tonight might be out of the picture.
Well, I think for Drew too, I mean, he's usually very, very honest with himself and with how his racing is. He knows when he doesn't have the car for the night, when he doesn't have that pace. And tonight, he's had good pace, but it just hasn't matched the same thing that you see out of Jared Talmadge and Thomas Green. You can see he's just slowly dropping back here and there. Just a couple mistakes here and there. You can see getting into the wall every now and then. It's really just held him up. And he just can't seem to find the same grip that they have up in the front. Those two drivers of Thomas Green and Jared Talmadge have had unmatched pace all night long. You can see Jolene Sims, who's been a really fast driver. She's fallen back as well. Just can't seem to keep up right now. With now 6 to go, we'll see. Thomas Green's going to have to make a move here soon, and if he's going to do something, it's going to have to be something bold if he wants to try and make a pass on Jared Talmadge.
Speaking of something bold, he takes the dog leg, and unfortunately, it didn't pan out for him, but still, he's got to be starting making moves like that and start thinking, hey, I need to make some maybe later break marks to try to get that gap, as it's still continually shrinking. Talmadge is definitely starting to feel that pressure, so Talmadge might crack if we have, 6 to go? So Talmadge is definitely probably feeling it, and he even looks like Jewah is maybe catching up a smudge, but still, this battle for P1 is going to go till the end, and hopefully it's all green flag racing.
And we've seen right now, Jared Talmadge has the benefit. The defending car here, especially at Phoenix, has the advantage because they can really control the line. You can see as we've gone through turns 3 and 4, really the only way to pass is on the inside. Going around turns 1 and 2, you can pass on the inside or outside, but if you're going to pass on the inside, you really have to send it and make that car stick. It is hard to make work. And so you can see he's controlling the line, running that middle, going for that slightly later apex, controlling the pace on exit. He gets a slightly better run and starts to pull away a little bit. Thomas Green's been really good under braking, but the problem is it's that runoff that's killing him. You can see again, closes that gap, but once they get on throttle, gets a little understeery. You can see that car almost gets into the wall, and then he drops a lot of time to Talmadge. So Talmadge just kind of in the groove right now. Just got to keep riding this momentum with 3 to go as we go through turns 1 and 2, and we'll be coming around 2 to go this next time around.
Yeah, and you can even see, we're speaking of how Talmadge is finding that groove, that gap time is starting to tick away. So for Green, he's got to really start to push it here if he wants to think about that win. Or is he might just playing it smart and just being like, I'm okay with second, as Talmadge has had very consistent times. It's definitely a mind game at this point. You want to win, risk crashing your car out and losing points, or accept the fact that you're not as quick and just enjoy the second position. It's all to play for as we are getting ready to go around for the last lap.
And here we come around. White flag is out. And you can see Barney the flag man right there in the bottom corner of the screen. Flag is waving. We're white flag here around Phoenix Raceway. The battle for the race lead still on, but Thomas Green really has to gain a lot of time here through turn 2. Can he get it? Still about a quarter of a second off. It looks like Jared Talmadge, third race of the season, but his second race win as he comes around turns 3 and 4. He's going to collect the checkered flag. A huge win for the points leader here in season 11. He's going to continue to build his points lead as he takes the Desert Dash.
Yeah, that was quite the race, and Talmadge has to be very happy as the rest of the drivers are coming through. It does look like Green and Jewah do end up taking second and third position, which is all of these drivers that finish this evening, whatever points they get is well deserved, as it's been a very chaotic race.
Yeah, lots of cautions, lots of incidents going on, but really good racing all night long. So let's take a look here at our results for the Desert Dash here at Phoenix Raceway. So Jerry Talmadge started on pole, finishes in first position. Thomas Green, second place. Drew Jewah, third. Jolene Sims locks up a good fourth place finish. And Min Hang works his way back around Tim Moore there in the dying laps. He's able to get himself a top 5. So after not racing the Daytona 250, he's got himself in a pretty good spot there. Tim Moore in 6th. Jonathan Amodio having a very good finish, 7th place. A quiet race for him, but a good race for him. James Mendes, another driver, had some really good spots throughout tonight's race. Finds himself up to 8th place. Brian McCall finishes in 9th, given all the incidents he was involved in. And Kevin Urguez, in his first start this season, finishes out in the top 10. Luca Mazzilli finishes in 11th. Brad Qualls all the way up to 12th place for him. Victor Imbasciani in his little modified car finishes in 13th. Gatlin Downey in 14th. Zach Brewster is able to recover the car a little bit, gets himself to 15th. Brian Miniker 16th. Jared Newton 17th. Kyle England 18th. And then rounding out the field here for tonight, in 19th, we've got JT Sipes, Jonathan Adams in 20th, Christopher Law in 21st, Tyler Bird in 22nd, Noah McGalliard in 23rd, Jimmy Amos 24th, and then Isaac Shelley rounds out the field in 25th for tonight. So unfortunately, rough night there for him. He came into chat, talked about it a couple times. It's a disappointing race for after having a big win just the race before, but Isaac Shelley, hopefully, we'll see him bounce back. He is a very, very good driver. But we're going to go ahead and start bringing up our top 3 finishers here. We're going to bring up first Drew Jewah. And Drew, welcome up to the booth. And a pretty good race for you here tonight. I know it wasn't where you wanted to finish. I know you want to always finish up front. But it seems like the pace just not quite there tonight for you, was it?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think we were fast. I think we were fast with Jarrett. You just really didn't get to show it, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, the amount of yellows we had and all that junk, I mean, I feel like I was about as fast as Jarrett, especially that first run, but we never really got a real long run. And then, we got the yellows. I made a bad pit strategy call and, pitted early. I pitted when I completely forgot about halfway. It's been a minute since we raced an OMA, and I completely forgot about the halfway bonus. So, we worked our way back up to, I think, 6th. We got those yellows over and over and over again. And I think I got the wall a little bit when my gas pedal got stuck under a little part of my desk, and I literally panicked, and I got on the brakes. I still tapped the wall, 12.5 damage, but we were still cooking until my brother started downloading something, and I don't know what he's downloading, but I mean, I was for the last like 30, 40 laps, probably downloading something for Lethal Company. Super frustrating. Me and Thomas got there, netcode, whole deal, and after that, I had like a pretty, pretty broken toe, and I was just holding on to third, hoping that they would either we'd get a yellow or um, that. But we'll take a P3. Like I said, I feel like if I didn't start lagging there at the end of the race, I feel like that's Jarrett. But it is what it is. Take a P3 and we'll move on to next.
Yeah, I didn't realize, like, I knew we saw the netcode and everything like that. Weren't sure what was going on because I know sometimes you have some connection issues here and there. But given what had happened, I mean, we saw the incident. The way you were driving, didn't even notice there was toe damage. But yeah, before the stage, it makes sense why you were further back. I was kind of surprised. I was like, wow, interesting call. Maybe he's trying to go for the long run. We'll kind of see. But that makes sense now why you came in when you did. But so far this season, a little bit of an abnormality for you here. No race win yet. I know it's only race 3, but we've got Michigan coming up, a big, one of the bigger tracks. You do really well at these larger intermediate tracks. So what can we expect from the 4-car looking forward to Michigan?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Michigan. I'm looking forward to racing up front with the people that, have been racing up front all year. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't really know what to expect. I know to expect Jarrett, Thomas, Jolene, Min, Tim to all be super fast, and maybe have a couple other people that weren't really as fast tonight. So I'm feeling, I kind of already said it earlier this season, but I have a feeling that this season is going to be harder to really like repeat what I put on last year. So at the end of the day, I mean, I would love to win, but consistent finishes, what gets it done. And I think I should be leaving with either second or third in points. So excited for Michigan, but what could have been if I didn't start lagging at the end of the race.
Well, hopefully we can bounce back even stronger next week. It's been progressively better each and every race. But before you head on out here, Drew, anything else you would like to say? Anybody you would like to thank?
Yeah, shout out to you for broadcasting like always. Shout out to Tim and a bunch of other people in the voice chat, even if they were screaming and yelling their whole race and kind of annoyed me. But and then shout out to Team Nexus. But yeah, looking forward to next week, and maybe we can bounce back and get a win.
All right, well, good luck next week, and congratulations on your 3rd place finish here tonight, Drew.
Thank you.
All right, so next we're going to bring up our 2nd place finisher here tonight, Thomas Green, driver of the number 3. And Thomas, really good driving here tonight for you. You got to lead a good portion of tonight's race. But there at the end, it was just constant back and forth between you and Jarrett. You just could not seem to find a way around that 16 car. Take us through those last couple laps, what you were trying to do, and just what was going on with the car.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep pace with him. I mean, I knew his speed. We practiced together, so I knew it was going to be a really close battle, and I was trying to do everything I could to keep with him and try to keep the tires in check, because it was still, for Phoenix, it is still kind of a medium run, even if it was just however many laps it was there at the end. But so I was just trying to keep it under me and try to see if I can make any moves and see if he can make a mistake. But the problem is we have so many laps together, especially in practice, that when we start battling like this as teammates, we already have each move covered from each other, because that's what we do when we practice. We're on each other's doors, catching quarter panels, driving as hard as we can at 1,000%. And so when we get into a race like this in battle, like we saw it at Daytona, we were just so even. We had that close finish, and I knew there was going to be something similar here, given the practice we did last night. And I knew we were going to be fast, and it's just tough to race a teammate, but I was just trying to secure a 1-2 for us and get us back in the points lead for the team standing.
Yeah, definitely a good finish to have 1-2 for the team standing, as well as for you, 2nd place here tonight. Definitely going to help you bump up in the points. And it's really just great finishing for you throughout these first couple races. So looking forward, like we've got Michigan coming up. What's going to be interesting is Eldora, the dirt race. So I don't know if you plan on running that, but kind of looking forward, what can we expect from you going forward? Can we find this 3 finally in victory lane, because you've had some really good runs?
Yeah, I mean, as far as Michigan goes, I think I have to work, sadly, so I might be missing that race. So yeah, I think Eldora could be good. I love dirt. It's been a while since I've really tried to hone in on the dirt, but I think we can definitely do good there. And yeah, for the rest of the season, just try to stay consistent, try to get locked into the playoffs, and I think we'll see this 3 in victory lane eventually. We just gotta put our heads down and keep grinding and see if we can do it.
Absolutely. You definitely have the pace for it. We know you have the skill for it. We are surely going to see that 3 in victory lane, I think, this season. But before you head on out and get ready for next race, anything else you would like to say? Anybody you would like to thank?
Just shout out to Jared for winning the race. I knew he was going to be a little shit throughout this race, so it's good to see him get another one, I guess, if he wants to be greedy this season. But shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Always love watching it back. You guys always do great. And big shout out to my girlfriend Anna for all the love and support. Thank you very much. I love you.
All right. Well, congratulations again, Thomas, on your 2nd place finish, and we will see you next race.
Thank you, man.
All right. That was Thomas Green, driver of the number 3. Now we're going to bring in our race winner, 2nd-time race winner, first multi-race winner this season, Jarrett Talmadge. And Jarrett, congratulations on the big win here tonight. You started off dominating the race, fell off a little bit in the middle, and then came back at the end real strong, leading those last 30 or so laps. And how's it feel to be the first driver to get more than 1 win this season?
Honestly, pretty good. I felt like Phoenix would be my best opportunity to win at the start of the season, because, you know, I dominated it last season but had an unfortunate yellow that cost me the win. But yeah, it was pretty good. Got unlucky there after, I don't know, leading like the first 30 something laps. Kind of got messed up on the restarts with the choose cone, and found my way back to the front there late, and just, yeah, put in consistent laps to hold it off.
Yeah, it was really good driving from you. I mean, for the most part throughout the race, the fastest driver on track. We saw you at the beginning of the race. You were pulling away from everybody. Even there at the end, you and Thomas just neck and neck. And as Thomas said, nothing really he could do. You knew every way to block off his moves and keep him from getting around you. So right now, we've seen some great racing from you, and it's only going to get better, I'm sure, because you just, right now, are points lead and just showing some great domination throughout this season.
Yeah, hopefully I can keep it up. Not sure about the next couple races here, but, you know, we'll see what we can do. And, yeah, hopefully get another win. I think Michigan's next.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we're going to Michigan next. And then after that, we're going to go dirt racing at Eldora. So that'll be an interesting race because, I mean, we're not sure how many drivers are familiar with dirt, let alone putting the cup cars on a dirt track. I know in official races in some other leagues, they've gone to Bristol dirt track, but Eldora is going to be a new one for most drivers when it comes to the cup cars on dirt.
Yeah, I probably won't be winning that one. Don't think we'll be winning that one, but yeah, we'll give it a go.
All right, well, Jared, before you head on out to celebrate your 2nd win of the season, anything you would like to say? Anybody you would like to thank?
Yeah, thanks for putting on the broadcast. Everybody that runs it, and teammate Thomas for always racing clean there, and yeah, that's about it.
All right, well, congratulations again, Jared, on your 2nd win of the season, and you're going to not only hold on to your points lead, but going to be able to extend it a little bit further, so congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so that was Jared Talmadge, driver of the 16, your current points leader, 2nd-time race winner this season. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it on up for tonight. And with all that being said, we want to take a moment to thank you all for joining us here at Racing Lights Productions for the Online Motorsports Association's virtual Racing Desert Dash. Congratulations to Jarrett Talmadge for taking his 2nd win of the season in tonight's race. Make sure to join us next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we head up north to Michigan International Speedway for our 4th race of the season. Make sure to follow the OMA over on Twitter at OMA_league to stay up to date on everything happening across all of their leagues. We hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast, and I want to thank the OMA for allowing us to bring this race to all of you. Be sure to check us out over on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook with @RacingLightsPro. You can also join us here on YouTube for other previous broadcasts. We have them all up in a playlist, both last season and this season. I am Alex Light saying good night to you from the virtual Phoenix Raceway. Thanks again for tuning in.